Today we're gonna talk about the newest 6-star Forest Aurorian, the Silky Web, Siobhan. Well, it's that time of the month again. Tour Dog once again graced us with a brand new event, and more importantly, with a brand new 6-star. In that case, it's the 6-star Forest Converter, Siobhan, and she has quite the hidden secrets. So that's why today, me and you are going to find out what exactly behind that mask is. And if she is gameplay-wise even worth all of your saved up blue member, blue flares, and empty energy drink cans. But before we do that, I do have to ask you one question. Do you ever have that feeling? That feeling of wanting to play more Alchemy Stars, but your phone is charging because you already spent countless of hours on it, and you can't use the PC client because it's region locked? Well, have no more fear. Your savior LDPlayer is here. As one of the best emulators in the competitive market, it provides you with smooth, high-quality gameplay, 60 FPS gaming that allows you to take fully advantage of the newest Alchemy Stars quality of life update, and on top of that, for completely free. So, if you're looking for the right emulator to play all of your favorite games on, then what are you waiting for? Download LDPlayer now from the description down below. But let's get back to the topic on hand, because we do have a spider vigilante to make photos of. So grab your camera and let's get right into every little dirty secret of this web slinger. So let's start off with the probably most important part of her whole kit. Her active skill, Spider Domain. This active skill is the bread and butter of Siobhan because it's the usual converter skill that a converter should have. In her case, you can select two tiles. The first one determines the starting point and the second one the end point of this conversion shape. And yes, this is kind of like a spider net-like selection, and this lets you either convert in a 2x2 shape or a 1x4 shape. But that's not all, because the selected tiles are converted into enhanced ones, which does give her synergy with some certain characters. But before we get into that, let's talk about this whole weird conversion she has going on. So, the Spider-Woman does bring something interesting to the table, which is kind of an unusual converting skill. Unlike her brethren, Eredon and Bethlehem, she doesn't straight up select the tiles you want to convert, even though she is kind of in line with Bethlehem's amount of converted tiles, and also with the CD of Eredon and Hero, because this is a completely new experience. It's just a different type of conversion we never had before. It's not like Bethlehem or Eredon where you can just monkey flip, just pick your tiles and build your combos. You do have to kind of think about how you can get the most value out of this skill, because you obviously have to decide if you either want this kind of small web of 4 green poisonous tiles, or if you rather want to get closer to your enemy and shoot a spider web directly at them in the form of this line. And if I had to describe the experience of Siobhan's conversion, I would just simply say she is kind of the Tetris converter, because that's what it feels like. When you just select the tiles, you kind of have to think about what kind of fits more in this situation. You kind of have to analyze the board first before you actually commit to your conversion. And that's kind of also where the fun with Siobhan comes in. Having to think a bit before you just straight up go monkey with Area and Hero, you do have to become a Tetris master. For some people that might be a big demerit, especially because a lot of people are used to and appreciate the freedom Bethlehem and Eredon provide. So Siobhan is not for everyone, but she does still provide 4 tiles in total in only 3 turns. Because yes, unlike Bethlehem, she does actually have a base CD of 3, giving her actually a pretty good tile per turn count. And also making her not that dependent on her breakthrough, in stark contrast to the queen that we just mentioned. But yeah, all of this comes at the loss of some freedom, and also of this huge spider that actually converts these tiles. And yes, I'm not the biggest fan of spiders, but let's just not talk about that and move on to the last part of this active skill, because it's still not over. If you enter the Aurora time this turn, and in Aurora time used 15 tiles, you actually get -1 CD on her active skill, making this effectively a 2-turn CD skill, bringing her in line with 4-tile converters, which is quite insane until we realize what exactly it means to use 15 tiles in Aurora time, because that first requires you to actually get the 15 tiles to trigger the Aurora time, and then get another 15 tiles. So this is not gonna happen unless you actually kind of build your team around this. And while that might sound kind of intimidating, it actually isn't, because that just means running at least 2 more converters alongside her. So yeah, Spider-Woman needs the help of the Forest Avengers to fully take advantage of her full powers, because throwing some webs around is nice and all, but you still need the firepower to actually follow up. So that means you want at least 2 more converters, and not any, you do want some good ones, like 4-tile converters aka Nikiness Impact or Sikara. But is it worth to assemble and use the full power of the Avengers just to get that -1 CD? Well, often not really. Most of the time you would rather save these tiles to make use of them the following turn to have a chance at another Aurora time. And yes, -1 CD is not the best payoff, because most of the time if you are able to kill with that second 15 tile chain combo action, then you really didn't need the -1 CD anyway. So this is just nice to have, a nice little bonus. So, I think we found out enough about how she entangles her foe in her web. So let's move on to how she actually beats those foes with her web swinging attacks. So let's check out her chain combo, and I hope you brought your camera with you. You didn't forget, right? We do still have to make that article. So yeah. Let's move on to her Spider Rupture Chain combo. This is quite simple. This is a fake global sniper chain. While force surrounding clusters might sound like the whole map, it is only the case if you're in the middle of the map. So most of the time you are going to miss some clusters of range, but that doesn't matter anyway, because her chain scalings are quite low. Because yeah, a spider doesn't have that much offensive power, she's just there to trap your foes. But don't expect anything special out of this chain combo. So let's move on to the last part of Siobhan's kit. Her equipment skill, Web Shield. And this is your defensive power to make sure that your friends and co don't die. How does it work? Well, of course you do have to actually work for it, but not much, because Siobhan is quite lazy and would rather get drunk than get any actual work done. So you just passively gain web marks whenever you walk through either green tiles or enhanced ones. You gain 1 stack for normal ones, 3 for enhanced ones. So you can get 99 of these web marks. And of course you don't just save these up for fun, these actually have some use, because whenever you get hit while you have some marks, these are converted into shields, and 1 mark equals 50% of Siobhan's defense. And while this sounds like an unpenetratable web of mad spiders that protect you from your foes at first, it's actually more like some small spiders you find in the corners of your room that sometimes eat 1 mosquito. auto, because yeah, these stacks disappear with every hit you take. So if you stack up to 50 and then one level 1 Eclipsite just punches you and you take 1 damage, then you get this huge shield which disappears in a second, because this obviously only lasts for that 1 round. So that's very similar to someone like Noah, where you get a huge shield for 1 turn that disappears very quickly. So yeah, most of the time this isn't that great and pretty much negligible, but it still brings in some nice utility and survivability, and sometimes it even is the MVP of your whole fight. So this is a 50-50-ish like equipment. Exactly like the 6-star rate up chance. Yeah. Let's just bring this to an end and wrap this whole thing up. All in all, Siobhan is an pretty good converter. While her breakthroughs do help her quite a lot, for example her BT3, which gives her preemptive strike, is quite a huge power spike, similar to basically every single selectile converter. Bethlehem, Iridon, Hero, you name them, it's the same for all of them. But how good is she without this? Well, she does provide you enough generation of tiles per turn to warrant running her. The only problem we have here is that she is Forest. And Forest is already stacked with enough options, be it damage, be it conversion. You have Heidi, you have Hero, you have Sikari, you have Gabriel. You have all of these choices already in front of you. So do you really need Spider-Man when you already have Captain America? Well, maybe. While the rest of her kit is only okay, this conversion does help quite a lot. Having to wait these 3 turns can sometimes hurt, but just slap in some converters into her team with her, and maybe even take advantage of that CD reduction, and suddenly she feels a lot nicer to play. But if you really want to get the most out of her, you probably want BT3. Because without that preemptive strike, she doesn't provide anything special if you compare her to the other core converters at the moment. So Siobhan is pretty up there, but it isn't quite enough because her equipment is only okay. It sometimes shines, often is quite useless. Her chain isn't the best, she doesn't really provide damage. Her active skill conversion is kind of limited, so there's no real reason to value her over Fortile converters or Hero. But if you already have these in your team, or if you want another top tier converter for another team, for example CC, then she is your girl, your spider girl, because she is quite up there, and I would say she is by far at the top of strong. She is very close to core, it's basically just her element that holds her back. So yeah. Her BT3 brings her up to core, I would say. MBT is quite useless, you don't really need this. And at base, she is quite nice. So for brand new players, she is a good pickup. For veteran players that don't have good enough converters, she's a good pickup. For everyone else, she is not a must-have, but definitely very nice to have. And if you like her design, VA & Co, you obviously should get her, because that's also the main reason why I really wanted her. So, leave your thoughts about her in the comments down below. Did you roll for her? Are you planning on rolling for her? Or was this just not convincing enough? And more importantly, did you catch that all on your camera? So bring these to my office while I tell the people why they should join my membership. If you want to support me because you really enjoy my content and want these perks, maybe give it a think. And of course, a huge thanks to all of my channel members, you guys are the best. So, that was all from me, have a nice day and see you next time.